Let me pull this over here so you guys can see it. All right. So here we go. I don't think we need the closed captions unless you guys want it. I'll leave it up there, but you'll just be able to turn it off. And 1440p. All right, let's do it.
Introducing No Man's Sky version
That looks really good, by the way.
5.0. A complete refresh of the universe.
The colors are a little
with new technology, new flora and fauna,
strong.
and new gameplay.
Ooh.
Planet variety is far beyond
Dang,
what
that thing
was
takes off
possible
quick.
before.
Dynamic waves. And then Sky World.
Oceans have waves, reflections, and more variety.
Does it have ray tracing?
Planets have wind
Or is that
patterns.
baked in?
Waves are dynamic and react to weather.
Water landings?
On the
Okay.
surface of the planet, there are new volumetrics and atmospherics.
Oh, those
New
planets.
cloud tech allows detailed clouds and weather conditions.
Yo, wait a minute. They just left the planet with no loading screen?
In storms, waves,
What?
wind, and clouds interact
Yo,
for
look at
incredible
that.
immersion. New creatures are out there to discover. With a combat-focused expedition.
Oh, that's like a little Metroid looking enemy. Stop spitting on me.
Our journey continues.
That looks like the first planet you go to in Starfield. But wait a minute though, look at this part.
And atmospherics.
Did you always do this in this game?
New cloud tech
Yeah, they just
allows
left.
detailed clouds and weather conditions.
Something about the game was kind of cartoony though. That
In storms,
like if I'm using the
waves, wind,
comparison,
and
the
clouds
last game I
interact
played,
for incredible immersion.
that does like spacefaring or
New
whatever,
creatures are out there
Starfield,
to
but it doesn't
discover.
have that cartoony look to it like that as far as like the environment.
With a combat-focused
I really like that,
expedition.
but this game looks like it has like way more going for it, at least by this point. Because remember when
Our
Starfield
journey
first came out,
continues.
right? I mean, not Starfield, but when No Man's Sky first came out, it did not live up to what it said it was going to be at all.
With every update, we just want to surprise.
It looks lush though. Like
New
it's
worlds.
alive, right? And see, and here's the thing. The worlds, what makes the difference is that there is a lot of procedurally generated stuff in No Man's Sky as well, right? But the worlds aren't left empty, right? Like each one feels alive. Now, granted, it's like their take on exploring the universe, but even in Starfield, the fact that there's just nothing there, even if there's nothing there, you could make that experience more fun. The point is to be fun, because without making the base experience fun, you would need multiplayer in order to get like various interactions out of players, right? Like they would add content and experiences to the world that it just will never have unless they go back and start to populate a lot of the places that you experience there.
New gameplay. New technology. We're 8 years in now, and we still just want to do really big things.
It was 8 years. Dude, that looks crazy. It's got scale. And I wanted to play this back in the day, but like my system was not, it was not gonna hold up at all. Today's a different story though.
Our next
It'd be cool to go
update
back and try
is
this out
called
finally.
Worlds Part 1. I'm so proud of the team and the love they're pouring into it.
Like the fact that they were able
We
to
are
keep
completely
going, right? Because it's still an indie company, right? Like the fact that they were able to release it, it's not what they wanted, it's not what people expected, but over the years to release patch after patch after patch and stay with it until they get what they want speaks to a level of resiliency and financial support that is out of this world. And I can always see people playing this game when I pull up on Twitch, right? It has a persistence to it, and I'm glad about that, right? Like more companies and projects need this level of focus, not to be bad at the beginning, right? Like we don't want that, but to be able to just treat the project as, at what point can we dial it in enough to where we feel like this is what we really envisioned before moving on to something else.
refreshing the universe with new technology, new flora, new fauna, and new gameplay.
I don't know how the combat is in this game though.
In No Man's Sky, what you see on screen is generated by the computer. And we're achieving a
procedurally
level
generated
of variety that just wasn't possible before.
I heard people say you should play it more like Minecraft.
When we started No Man's Sky, I wanted people to feel like they had stepped into the cover of a science fiction novel.
Yeah, you that's what you say it's more like?
To create a lot of new technology. New water technology can create waves and reflections, oceans. Look so different to what we had before.
That's cool. I guess it was static.
Ocean planets feel completely new, and ships can now land on water.
That's what's up.
6 months ago, we announced Light No Fire. It's this crazy, ambitious game.
It kind of looks the same.
And we've been working on it for years, and we've learned so many things.
So he said they've been working on it for years. It looks like it. I mean, it definitely builds upon it. They must be working within the same engine. It looks great. Is this person riding a hummingbird? What?
And it feels like we're almost bringing this technology back from the future.
Okay, so yeah, they're working on the other game, but they're taking what they learned from this one, put it in the other game, and they were like, hey, why not go back and update No Man's Sky again for all the people that have been rocking with them the entire time?
Planets have wind patterns, waves are dynamic, and they react to the weather. My favorite thing in the game,
the saturation is strong with this game.
Flying through the clouds and out into space.
It is an art choice. It is a choice. This game has multiplayer, right? They're flying with other people?
Clouds for us are a unique challenge, right? You can see them from space. You can fly through them. You can land on a planet and look up at the sky.
Crazy.
You get these beautiful skies now.
Imagine getting to a point in gaming where like
sometimes
that's just the norm and there's just like a million people running around at
the
once.
Waves rise, the clouds gather. You've got
that is so impressive. I love the way that looks.
Technology,
all that dust
comes together
and
all
sand
at once,
and stuff.
And there's nothing like it. On the surface of the planet, we've added these new volumetrics. You get rolling fog, rain, blizzards, little sparks.
They're in their bag now. They're like, we're just adding it all. More and more of what the original vision
planets feel,
and then some.
It just makes them feel alive.
And it looks really good because like it adds to the environment. It doesn't take it away by being like a cheap interpretation of it.
We're really trying to push on the level of variety. It's not enough for us to just do more. You know, we want to create things that people haven't seen before. Expeditions have become a huge part of how folks play the game. And this new one is very sort of Starship Troopers inspired. It's something
Got
really
on
different.
Their hand. It looks like. Well, at least you can shoot stuff.
Takes you on a tour of some of these cool new planets that we've
added.
added.
Landing looked pretty rough.
Everyone is battling together.
I don't think
Progress
that's the way it's supposed to look.
Community driven, and the rewards are super cool.
It was like Halo.
Something I love is to browse the screenshots that people share with us.
Not gonna lie, man. No Man's Sky stuff looks like it make for a nice display.
For people to explore this universe we've
display
made
images
with
up for the wall,
fresh
man.
eyes.
And I have more room. I got some like space over there.
The update is called Worlds Part 1 because I guess there's much more to come.
And they're not even done. So that's implying that there's a part 2. And they just showed like a bunch of people converging on the spot. Like the way that all of that looks, and I'm gonna make again because the last thing I played was Starfield, so I'm gonna make the comparisons here because they're similar for the space thing, but they're doing completely different things. That right there at the end here, if that's what they're teasing, just like just massive PvP kind of experience, I'm all for that. Right? Make events, make things more lively. The thing that Starfield doesn't have going for it, that apparently this thing does, is taking you away from the experience to do pretty much nothing. Right? Like you're going to a lot of like the same environments, and it's procedurally generated as well, but it's done almost like in a bubble or a vacuum. Now, I do like the art style and the graphics of Starfield more, but the way that this game looks graphically, it's up there. It's just certain things, like even this ship, it's like a little more like cartoony, I guess I would say, for a lack of a better explanation. It's more whimsical. That's it. It's a more whimsical take. Whereas if you go and look at Starfield, it's grittier, it's darker, it's they're trying to play more on like a realism take, especially with the color palette. And the ship building is like really good in Starfield. They probably went too ham on that part, and the rest of the game didn't get the same level of attention, right? But the game, it needs we need good vehicles, right, to traverse the world, which is what you see in this one, right? Let me go back. Right, like this is just on the planet. You're not having to run across the planet.
Clouds for us are a unique challenge, right?
There's like a level of respect of immersion and respect of the player's time with that. You need a vehicle to take us across, right? Because we can always get out and walk around if there's something to find, which I think is always the problem with Starfield. You get out, there's nothing interesting. So whereas, here skies now. Look out at that. And then creatures are out here. You can run into certain things. Like it looks like there's things to do. And in this game, yes, you can like come across other people because there's a bunch of worlds here too. Like this is where they really got the idea from, right? No Man's Sky. That's Starfield got that idea from here. They just didn't execute on it, I don't think, as well as it could have with Bethesda. With granted, like we're talking about an indie company here versus Bethesda Studio Games, right? Or Bethesda Game Studios, whichever one, right? Bethesda. But that's so wild to me. But like I said, they do the shipbuilding right. Um, the the Starfield is running into an issue with the fact that they did crank out supreme visuals for that engine. I shouldn't say supreme because I've seen some Skyrim mods that are pretty crazy. But they did up the ante, but a lot of that questing is still the same. And I just don't think it works in the same way anymore, at least with how Starfield goes. But the point that I want to make with this is that, look, man, this game has been 8 years in development. It's almost like they said, hey, we're going to get the basics on there. And then instead of spending 5 years on the back end and then release the game, they were like, here's enough. I'm sorry that it wasn't what we said it was going to be, but be with me on the journey. And I mean, look at this game
just
now.
Tons of variety.
Like
sometimes
it's
a storm hits, and you know the waves rise, the clouds gather. You've got
look
the
at that
atmospherics, wind, all this technology comes together.
Like your curiosity is peaked.
There's nothing like it.
Like there's it's beckoning you for stuff to do, other than just running up in a building, taking out some rando pirates maybe, and looting their ship, which I do love that part, by the way, though. Like Starfield, right? Going up and killing people on their ship who are being hostile and then taking it for yourself is peak. But you just want more to do. But the reason I keep bringing it up is because I feel like there's hope for Starfield if this is the kind of if this is where it's gotten, because No Man's Sky developers have gotten to this point. They stuck with it. Now Bethesda's already said they're coming out with like another Elder Scrolls or something. Like they're coming out with another game. But they have hinted that, right, like they're in it for the long haul with Starfield. Just don't know if with the amount of hate that company can get, if it can weather the storm the same way that this game has, because it didn't come in with the same level of expectation. Like, just keeping it real. But I hope it does. I have that Luther character, and I should probably get back to Starfield anyway, because they released an update and there's one coming out later this year, right? So we should take that time to get back into it and just reassess how we feel about that as a community at that point. But I mean, this is great. I'm excited for them. And looking for more
on the
to come.
Surface of the planet, we've added
like
these
that
new volumetrics.
That new game that they're coming out with. What is it, like Light No Torch?
Rain, blizzards, little sparks coming up from the lava.
So, I mean, yeah, look at that. But yeah, maybe I'll do that. I got some other content that I'm working on, but yeah, I like what I see. And now that I've had sort of that experience, I want to play this and see how that stacks up. And then there's Star Citizen 2, which is even more of a beast to get into. But I'll get there when I can, because that seems far out.